Okay, very good morning, guys. Yeah. So last class, I updated the notes. Have you verified? I updated the notes also. Okay. Only thing I just posted in a Google Classroom back again. Only thing I made it is okay. I should change the place. I did not change the place of it, but I have updated the contents. Just a minute. This position I have not changed. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. So last day we just been completed our discussion talking about ADO.NET, how to interact with the data sources with the help of ADO.NET. With the help of ADO.NET, how we can communicate with the data sources. This is all what we have learned up in the previous session actually. So the next thing what we are just going to talk here is about actually to interact with the data sources, we have three different options that are available. The first option is going to be ADO.NET and the second option is going to be LINQ. The second option is going to be LINQ. If you recollect yourself, you guys have already learned about LINQ. You already learned about LINQ basically in your C# classes. So what is LINQ? LINQ? LINQ is actually a language using which we can interact with a wide variety of data sources. LINQ is as same as SQL. LINQ is as the same as SQL. But by using SQL, we can interact only with relational databases. Whereas with the LINQ, we can interact with a wide variety of data sources. Like we can just interact with arrays, collections, databases, XML, a lot of different options are there. What is it? LINQ. This is a new query language that is designed similar to SQL. Similar to SQL, whereas similar to SQL, but by using SQL, we can interact only with relational databases, whereas with LINQ, we can interact with a wide variety of data sources, like objects, in a sense, arrays and collections. Next, XML and relational data sources. So basically, we can interact with a wide variety of data sources. Like we can talk to objects, means arrays and collections. We can talk with XML. We can talk with relational data sources. All these are three things we can interact by using the LINQ. So that is the specialty of LINQ. Okay. So basically it's a query language. How do you write a query? You can write a query on this also. LINQ is divided into three parts. What are three parts? First one, link to objects. We use this for writing queries on arrays and collections. By using this, we can write queries on arrays and collections. Second one, link to XML, also called as XLink. Using this, we can write queries on XML data. XML, you know XML now? You can write a query on XML now. XML works like a database only. Na? XML is a temporary database. Now you can write a query on this. Third one, link to databases. Link to databases. Guys, by using this link to databases, we can interact with relational databases. We can interact with relational databases like SQL Server, Oracle, etc. Okay, these are the three things what we just have. So you guys already learned about link to objects in your C# classes. And what you'll be learning here is we will learn about link to XML also. And also we'll be learning about link to databases. Both the two things, link to XML as well as link to databases are the two things what we'll be going to learn in this particular case. Are you getting me or not? Okay, these are the two things. These are the two things what we will be learning in ASP.NET basically. Yeah, first we'll start with link to databases. Actually, LINQ was introduced in .NET 3.0. It was introduced in .NET 3.5. .NET 3.5. It was introduced in .NET 3.5 actually. Okay. And basically this became very popular. This became very popular between the .NET developers while communicating with the databases and to fetch data from arrays and collections, to fetch data from XML. Means you have a querying mechanism now. You have a querying mechanism. See, basically, you can write a query on a database table, but you cannot write a query on a table now. Sorry, query on an array. See, I have a list of integers. Can I write a query on an integer, query on that array directly? I cannot. In C language, C++ language, and all these languages, if I give you an array and I ask you to write some filter code, you're required to write loops now. So without writing loops, what you can do now? You can write a query, just like you can write a query on a table, you can write a query on an array, you can write a query on a collection, and all these things we can just go for writing the queries. That came into picture and made the developers work simple and easy. They made the developers work simple and easy. And at the same time, they introduced link to databases. So this link to databases, this is specially designed. This is specially designed for communicating with any relational database. relational database and perform CRUD operations on it. That is select, insert, update, and delete operations. Actually, in C sharp, when you learned about link to objects, guys, listen, in C sharp, when you learned about link to objects, this link to objects in C sharp gives you only one option to you. What is that? Only write a query. Select, only write a query, that is to select. But when you talk about link to databases, yeah, it's not only about querying the data. You can do all the four CRUD operations now, like selecting, inserting, updating, and deleting. Okay, in an object-oriented way. In an object-oriented way. What is that object-oriented way? Listen, what is that object-oriented way means? When you're using link to interact with the databases, careful listen. What does the database contain? Tables, right? Yes or not? A database contains tables. Every table is a collection of rows, columns, rows and columns, and also a set of store procedures. Even in our previous example also, we talked about all these things now. Tables, procedures, rows, columns. Yes or not? Clear? Say, from now onwards, tables are classes. Even in our last example also, it is the same here. But what is the difference, Last example, we have a student table. We have defined a student class in our application. Am I correct? Who defined it? You only defined it, na? And while defining the classes, you should be careful. If the column accepts a null value, you should accept a null value. If a column doesn't accept a null value, you also should not accept a null value. I was talking about all these things to you there. Correct? But now these classes are automatically defined to you. You don't require to write any code to define the classes. It will take care of everything. All the classes will be automatically defined for you. Clearer or not? Okay. Second, tables have columns now. These columns are now properties. Yeah, we have done it the same thing. We also defined properties in our class. You have seen it clearly. These are going to be properties now, and you have explicitly defined the properties in your code. Understood? You have explicitly defined the properties in your particular code. Next, no more rows, guys. These rows are like instances. Yeah, recollect here. Instance, every record is one instance now. Okay, and stored procedures are methods. Stored procedures are methods. The point what I want to clarify here is, even in our last example also, we talked the same only. But remember, you defined this class explicitly. Correct or not? Afterwards, you defined all these properties explicitly. Next, you have written the logic explicitly. For converting the rows into instances. In the DAL class, you written that logic now. You picked one by one record from the data reader. After picking the record from the data reader, you're converting that into a student instance and add it into a list. And all that code you have written explicitly. Am I right? And stored procedures are methods. Yeah. See, for every procedure, you have written one method in the DAL class. For every procedure calling, you have written one method in the DAL class. In the DAL class, you have written all the logic to call the methods now. Understood or not? Okay, so that is the thing what we are just going to have in this particular case now. So we are writing the methods to call the things. All these are defined by you. You defined everything on your own. But when you come to LINQ, All these will be converted automatically to you. You don't require to write the logic. Did you get my point? The data will come directly for you in the list format now. The model class will be automatically defined to you. Store processor already automatically convert to methods. All these things happens to you automatically. You don't require to write any extra logic for this. Are you getting me or not? You don't require to write any extra logic for this. No need any additional or extra logic that is required for this particular things to be done. So that is the specialty of the LINQ actually. Understood? Yes or not? Okay. So that's what exactly happens to you. That's what we call a pure object oriented way. We have a concept here called as ORM. We have a concept called as ORM. What is the ORM? Object relational mapping. What is this, sir? Is a process of converting all relational types, all relational objects into object-oriented types. Understand? What is it? Is a process of converting all relational objects. See, what do you see in the left-hand side are relational objects into right-hand side, object-oriented types. We call this process as ORM. And to do this, we are provided with many tools in the market. There are so many tools in the market here. Okay, there are many tools in the market, and Microsoft provides us two. Microsoft provides us two tools like this, or two tools for this. Microsoft provides us two tools for this. What are the two tools? First one, OR Designer. OR Designer. OR stands for. Second tool is EDM. Entity Data Model. Understand carefully what is the ORM? It is a process to convert relational objects into object or is it visible now? Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, fine. Yeah. So what I'm telling you is Okay, guys. So what we are discussing, it is basically ORM. ORM. We need to understand this concept. What is ORM? ORM means converting all the, what are these? Relational objects into object-oriented types. Last day, we have written the code for converting everything like this. Do you remember? You have written the code to convert a table into a class. You defined a class explicitly, and your columns are defined in the form of properties. And every record you picked it and created the instances of the class. And every stored procedure you converted into a method. We call that process as ORM. Imagine yourself now. Tomorrow, in your application, a table contains 100 columns, and you have 40 to 50 tables. Array, how much coding you need to write now? You need to convert everything into classes. And in this process, I said you one drawback. What are this? You should be very careful and cautious. If your columns are accepting null value, your applications also should accept the null value. If your columns doesn't accept the null value, your application should not accept the null value like this. We have been explicitly talking on this now. Remember or not? And if you just understand that particular process or the concept, that's going to be very, very complicated. That is going to be very complicated. It's a complex process. It is a complex process actually. Why? 1 or 2 tablesmiths will do of here, 50, 60 tables. And for every table, you write some procedures. Array, you have nearly some 200 procedures in your application now. All the procedures should be converted into methods. You need to write the logic for it now. So it's a time-taking job and also error-prone. Error-prone, yeah, it's error-prone also. Without that, what it is telling you, there are tools in the market. They will do that work for you now. Understood or not? So many tools are in the market, and Microsoft gives us 2 tools like this. What are the 2 tools? The first one is the OR designer, and the second one is the ADM, object relational designer, and the entity data model. Okay, now? Well, just a minute. I skipped a small thing here. Link to databases. So basically, when I talked about link to databases, what did I say? This is specially designed for communicating with any related databases to perform CRUD operations on it, like select, insert, update, delete, all these things. Guys, under link to databases, we have 3 options again. Under link to databases, we have 3 sub options again. 1, link to SQL. Link to SQL. This is designed purely for performing CRUD operations on CRUD on SQL Server database. You can do CRUD on SQL Server databases only. You cannot do it on any other things, only on SQL Server. Second one is link to entities. Link to entities. You can use this to go CRUD on any relational database. You can do the CRUD on any relational databases. Sir, why 2 things? Even you're saying here any relational database means SQL Server also comes there, na? Then why this link to SQL again? Actually, all these things did not come at the same time here. First, link to SQL came. Link to SQL was designed to interact only with SQL Server. And that's a big success. That is a big success. When that became a big success, and then they thought like, and not like when they thought like many people asked, why don't you give us the same approach to interact with other databases like Oracle, MySQL, and all these things? Did you understand? First, link to SQL came and became a big success. And then people ask, like, why don't you give us the same approach to communicate with other data sources also like Oracle and all these things? Then link to entities was introduced. Are you clear? Okay. But right now, link to SQL is also existing and link to entities is also existing. Link to entities is more advanced than link to SQL. If you know link to SQL, to go to link to entities, you don't require to learn much. Are you clear? If you know link to SQL, to go to link to entities, you don't require to learn much. Much things are not required for you to learn. If at all you want to promote from link to SQL to link to entities. I hope you understood now. Yes or not? So that is the basic ideology or the basic concept of link to SQL and link to entities. Actually, there's one more thing also called as link to data sets. This is to write queries on, this is used for querying on a ADO.NET data tables. It's a failure option here, but you know, ADO.NET, you have data sets, and data sets you have data tables. You can write a query on a data table now. You can write queries on data tables, but it's a failure option. We don't use it anywhere. We're not going to use it anywhere, basically. Okay, remaining everything will cover here except that. Already you learned about to see. This is a LINQ overview. These are the different .NET languages. Under this, we have the .NET language integrated query. And using this, we can talk three parts. Link to objects. Morning I said you. Errors and corrections. Second one, link to. Third one, link to XML. Link to XML is to write queries on XML data. And coming to link to databases, I enter these three parts again now. First one, I said you, this is a failure option here, ignore it. Second one, third one, using this we can do CRUD on only SQL server. Using this we can do CRUD on any relational database. You already learned about link to objects, and here you're going to learn link to SQL, link to entities, link to XML also, all these things, except I said you that is a failure option. We don't require to use it anywhere. We don't not going to learn this also. Okay, now. So that's all about the link basically. Clear? And today we are going to start with link to SQL. Link to SQL. Are you clear? Okay. Yeah. Now see, ORM is clear. Yes or not? And how to do ORM? By using a OR designer or EDM. OR designer is a tool that is used in link to SQL and is a tool used in link to entities. That's the difference. That's it. No, we don't have anything called link to JSON. Okay. So basically, first thing is an OR designer. You use this in link to SQL. And second one is EDM. We use it in link to entities. We just use in link to entities actually. Fine. Now, let us start with link to SQL first. And what did I say? Using link to SQL, you can do CRUD operations on SQL Server database. Yeah, we are starting with what? Link to SQL. First point, by using this, we can perform CRUD operations on SQL Server database. CRUD operations on SQL Server database. It allows you to do CRUD operations on SQL Server database. Okay. To work with this, we need to take the help of OR designer and convert all the relational objects into object-oriented types. So to work with this, what you need to do? You're required to take the help of OR designer and convert all the relational objects into object-oriented types. Okay, concentrate, guys. Just observe it. How do you work with this? I'll show you. Let me create a new project. Here, concentrate, you're very less coding. You don't write coding. It is a completely automated process. You need to understand the things, that's it. Okay, focus on it carefully. I'm going to create a new project. We'll name the project as MVC with LINQ1. Okay. MVC with LINQ1. Taking an MVC project, guys. Concentrate on this. Actually, to work with this, first you're required to get the reference of system.data.link. You're required to get the reference of an assembly. What assembly? System.data.link. You need the reference of it. Okay. So basically, if you want any reference explicitly, what we do, we add it. You know, adding a reference. Okay, we add it. Yeah. Basically, if you go to references, here you see, these are all the inbuilt references, what are already available or what are already added. But what do you require now? System.data.link. And see, to work with ADO.NET, like we used now, what we used like data reader, data set, SQL connection. For working with all, you need a reference of this, which is already added. System.data.dll assembly. Under that only we have system.data.odbc, OLDB, SQL client, all are present under that only. And we are directly using it because the reference is already added. But to work with LINQ, we need a reference to system.data.link. Are you clear? Keep it in mind. Yeah. So carefully observe it. Second thing is we need to write the connection string in the config file. We require to write the connection string in the config file. By default, we don't have the connection string available here. Yeah, by default, why we'll get? We should add it now. Even in the last example also, you added manually. Clear? And you've done all these things manually on your own in the last example. But see today, everything is going to be automated. Means, don't we write? Nothing. Nothing here. It will only write the connection string for you. It will only create the model classes for you. In the runtime, it will only create lists and return the records of the table for you. Everything is automatically done for you. Understood? And if at all you want that, the first step is you need to configure the OR designer. You're required to configure the OR designer. Are you getting me? Come on, guys. Watch the process. Open the Solution Explorer. Anything related to database should be under Models. So right click on the Models folder. Add New item. And when you open this window in the left-hand side, select data, select data. Now on the right-hand side, you'll have the option link to SQL classes. Can you see that? Yes or not? It'll add you an item with an extension of .dbml. That stands for Database Markup Language. Database markup language, DBML. Okay, now, so what to do? Give a name for this. Give a name for this. Any name of your choice here, but there are some conventions. What conventions? It is always suggested to use your database name as a name of the DBML. It is always suggested to use your database name as a name of the DBML. Come on, tell me what is your database name? MVCDB. We already have the database called MVCDB, right? So use the same name, MVCDB. Click on add. Nothing happens when you do that. Automatically, two things are happened for you here. First one, look at it. It added you the reference of system.data.link. I said you this only here. Everything is automated. Just concentrate. You don't require to write any logic. It will do everything to you. Understand what is it doing. That's all. Okay, now what it has done? It has added the reference to system.data.link to me now. Oh, system.data.link is available already. Okay, I don't require to add it again explicitly. Okay, now second, it added you one item. It added you one item that looks like a split container. Split container in the sense like a two separate panels. Like you see, this is basically called as a split container. It's a container divided into two parts. It's split into two parts. That's what we call as a split container. So we are just going to have an item added for you in the project like this. Are you getting me or not? And on the other side, if you come to Solution Explorer, under the models folder, you can see the DBML file added. The DBML added. And if you expand this, if you just expand this, guys, you'll be finding a file called as designer.cs. Can you see that? And do you remember designer.cs files are used by Visual Studio for code auto generation, and developer should never edit or modify them. Yes or not? Designer.cs is purely for code auto generation. Who generates the code? Visual Studio. Developer should never touch them. A developer should never touch those particular files. Are you getting my or not? A developer should never touch those particular files at all. It is purely for Visual Studio to auto generate. Studio for auto generate. It is only auto generation of the code. And developer point of view, developer should never touch them at all. Understood? Clearer or not? So that is what the basic concept or idea of the designer.cs. Okay, now if you open it, under this, you have a class. Noticed it? Class. What is the class name? This class works to you like a connection. This class works to you like a connection. In ADO.NET, if at all you want to connect to a database, you will create a connection class instance now. Here, you don't require to create a connection class instance, guys. What you require to do is you require to create the instance of MVC DB data context. We call this class as a data context. We call this class as a data context now. Why we call it as a data context? We call this class as a data context because the MVC DB data context internally inherits from data context. So we call button as a control. We call text box as a control. Why? Because all these classes inherit from the class control. Yes or not? I developed a class called as student controller. We call that class as a controller because it is inheriting from the class controller. Yes or not? Because you are given the name of the class as controller, it is not becoming a controller here because it is inheriting from controller to becoming a controller. Yes or not? See, a person put a name and in his name he has added Ambani. Because his name contains Ambani, will he become an Ambani's family member? No, nah. You should be born in the family to become an Ambani. If I put my name as Ambani, I won't become an Ambani now. Yes or not? Exactly. This class is called as a data context class, not because its name is a data context, because it is inheriting from the class data context. Open it and see. Open the file here, designer.cs file, open it. If you open it, you'll find it. Which namespace? That reference is automatically added to you. Okay. And this is the class. And you know one thing? This class internally uses our ADO.NET connections. This class internally uses our ADO.NET connections actually. So that's way this class works like a connection for you now. Are you getting me? So what is happening here? It is defining a new class inheriting from data context. So automatically this class becomes a data context now. Yes or not? And now for any connectivity to the database, for any CRUD operations you want to perform on the database, the first step is create the instance of that class. And once you create the instance of the class, it will connect to the database. Sir, what about connection string? Array, the connection string concept is same only. You should read the connection string from the config and pass it as a parameter, just like you're doing for a connection class. What do you do, guys? You read the connection string from the config file and you pass it to the connection class now. Now also same thing. You're replacing the connection with data context. That's all. Other than that, we don't have any difference. Now also we write connection string in config file. Now also we read the connection string. Now also we pass it to this. All steps are same. But only thing is, you don't require to write it manually in the config file. OR designer will do that for you. Understood or not? Who will do? OR designer will do that for you. All these things are automated for you. That's it. That is the advantage. Okay, fine. And by default here, right now, if you observe, this class contains 4 constructors in it. See that? Parameterized, all parameterized, no defaults, all are parameterized. And also there is one private field called as mapping source of type mapping source. And there's a private method called as onCreated. So why are you telling private? The lock symbol here indicates private. They are not accessible outside the class. They can be consumed only within the class. Then this is none of my business then. Why? Because I never write any code in this class now. Anything I write is only out of the class to consume it. And these are not accessible to me now. And then ignore it. That is used. These two are used for its some internal purpose. And I don't require to bother about it. Are you clear? So many constructors are there. I'm bothered about this because I need to use this instance creation now. I need to do now. So by calling the constructor, what is public is only important here. What is private? See, so many classes, predefined classes you learn till now. Private members of the class are none of your business here. You only require to learn only about the members which are accessible to you. Which is not accessible is none of my business now. Because when you need to bother about it, if you are writing code in that class, we can never write code in that class now. Then that is none of my business now. Am I clear? So did you understand what happened when you have added the war designer in the project? What happened? First, it added a reference. Store system.data.thing. Second, it has created you one item like this, which looks like a split container. Third, it defined one class called inheriting from, and this class works like a connection to us. Sir, to which database? You did not tell that anywhere still. We said no, you given the name of the database here. If I give the name of the database, it will connect up to SQL server. You're required to provide all that information now. You're required to provide all the information. Are you guys clear till now? Yes or not? Okay. Next, the next thing what you required to do is say, this is the split container now. Whatever tables you want to work with, in the database, you have some tables now. You want to work with them. Those tables, whatever tables you want to work with, those tables should be placed here now. Those tables should be placed here. And whatever procedures you want to work with, those procedures should be placed here. How to do that? Observe it. In the view menu, you'll find a window called as Server Explorer. Watch it, Server Explorer. And I hope some of you people already know about the Server Explorer in your C# classes. Okay, just a minute. Open the Server Explorer. After opening the Server Explorer, what will you do is configure your database here now. Configure your database. Which database? MVC DB database you created now? Or you already have the database you created in the last week? Now configure the database here. How to do, sir? You'll find a node called Data Connections. Right click on it, add connection, and provide the connection details now. By default, here, first time when you open this window, it will come like this. Choose and click on OK. Next time onwards, directly this window will open up. You know this now. What you will enter here? Server name. Tell me, what is my server name? Server. Next, it will ask you what type of authentication you want to use. SQL. Then enter user ID. Enter password. Now here you will find an option called as encrypt. Make it false. Are you clear? Use save my password. Did I use a trust this? Credentials under encrypt, choose false. Okay, no need. Just use the option save my password. Under encrypt, what you'll say? False. And use this option save my password. If all your details are correct, and here your database should load now. Got it? Choose your database. What's your database? Click on test. Did you understand? Again, I'm showing you. What you'll do, go to view menu, Server Explorer. A window opens to you like this. Right click on add connection. First time it will open you like this. Choose and click on OK. If straight away this window open, nothing to do then. Then server name, server, authentication, SQL, user ID, SA, password, 123, encrypt, false, save my password. If you close save my password, tomorrow onwards, see, today I work with it, I close my studio, tomorrow reopen it. When I come here to data connections, again, it will ask you for the password. If you don't want to ask it for the password, select that option. Nothing special about it. Now come here, choose your database, MVC DB. Click on OK. Once you do that here, your database will come there directly and all the tables and procedures will be list shown for you now. You have only one table now? Check. And you have 4 stored procedures now? Check. You can see everything here, see. Clear up. So what to do now is, whatever tables you want to work with, drag and drop them onto the left-hand side panel. Or if at all you want to work with procedures, drag and drop them on the right-hand side panel. Did you understand or not? Clear? I repeat again, what to do? Drag and drop tables on left-hand side panel, drag and drop. Okay, listen. When you drag and drop the first object on the OR designer, I repeat, when you drag and drop the first object can be table or the first object can be procedure here, anything, the first object. Then it will write off the connection string in the web.config file to you. Observe it, we don't have a connection strings here, right? Now drag and drop the first object, either table or procedure. Let us start with tables here. In the next example, we'll talk about procedures. Now we'll start with tables. Drag the table here, drop it. You can see a visual representation of the table, see? Are you clear? And come to web.config. Your connection string is ready. Check. See there, guys, your connection string is ready. What is the name? And provider name, you know this. And it has written the connection string for your data source, initial catalog, user ID, password, encrypt false. like all the options, what I selected, it was just bringing me here now. And immediately, guys, here, earlier it shows you as MVCDB, the database name. But now if you observe it, it will show you as, it will change. After dragging and drop, it will change. Means it is directly connecting to this connection string in the code now. Array, whatever it changes, nothing for me now. Just I'm giving an idea, that's all. Okay now? Are you clear? So when will this happen? When you drag and drop the first object on the OR designer. That first object can be table, the first object can be stored page. Sir, if I drag and drop another table, why will it write another connection string? Connection string is already there, na? One time only you need connection. For every table, you need a connection string. Eh? No need. That's it. For the first object only, this will happen. Okay, now. Are you clear? Fine. When you drag and drop the first object on the OR designer, it will write the connection string into the config file. It will write the connection string into the config file. Any doubts? Understood? In the next example, we will drag and drop procedure first. Then also it will write for you. First object. One and only one time this will happen. Okay now? Next. For every table you drag and drop, it will perform a series of actions to you guys. I repeat, for every table you drag and drop, it will perform a series of actions. Today you drag and drop a table. Tomorrow you drag and drop another table. All these actions will repeat again. What are those actions? I'll tell you. Did you catch my point or not? Not for first table. For every table, these actions are performed. What will be performed, sir? What will be performed is, representing the table, it will define a model class to you. It will define a model class to you. Remember, this model class is defined by you yesterday, but today OR designer is doing that for you. Check it out. Under the CS file, second class is added. See, first I shown you only this class, right? Now second class. What is it? SID, integer, name, string, class, nullable int, fees, nullable decimal, photo, string, status, bool. It brought the status. Actually, when I defined, I did not take the status, I ignored it. But today, it was defined by OR designer. Na? So OR designer will bring every column here. OR designer will bring every column here. Status, it's a boolean. See, carefully concentrate on the value types. What are value types there? 2 columns integer, 1 column decimal, 1 column boolean. Value types. With value types, we have a problem. What is the problem? By default, value type doesn't accept a null value. By default, value type doesn't accept nulls in it. Am I correct? That is why if your table column accepts a null value, in your application, that value type should be nullable value type. It should be nullable value type. Understand? SID is a primary key column. Null values are allowed or not allowed. So that is why here it has taken integer, and integer doesn't accept a null value. Am I correct? Next, the class column in our table, we did not give any not null on that. So class column accepts a null value in the database table or not? Possible or not? That is why, look here, here also class will accept a null value, int question mark. The question mark indicates it accepts a null. Next, the fees column in the table accepts a null value. Yeah, my application is also accepting. And when you come to the status, do you remember status, we have used not null on it. Not default value we are given, not null we are given. Status is a bit. Default is 1 and also not null. It is a not null column. You cannot have null values in it. Compulsory true or false. Default is true. That is why here the bool is non-nullable boolean. Did you understand? If a value type accepts a null value in the database table, my application also will accept it. If that doesn't accept in the database table, my application also will not accept. What about reference types? Reference types are by default nullable. Yeah, no need to talk about them. Reference types are by default nullable. No need to talk about them now. It is only important about value types. It's important only about the value types, not about the reference types. Clearer or not? Say, do you remember this one? When you learned C# here, in the properties classes you learned. You can define a property either as an automatic property without any code. Basically, till now, whenever we defined a model class, the last 1 month, when we started with this, whenever we defined a model class, every time we are defining a model class as automatic properties only, simply public int id get set. Automatic properties. But without automatic properties, we can also write a manual coding also. Na? Any extra logics are there. Then we declare a field and write. We declare a field, we write some logic. All this particular process we follow. We learned in C# basically. If you need to write any extra logic in that, you cannot write automatic. What you're required to do, you're required to take a field and then write. And recollect yourself. Any field associated with a property should be prefixed with underscore. Should be prefixed with, see there. These are the actual fields. Field, blue color icon. Method, purple color icon. Property, black color spanner icon. See those six are fields now. And every field has an underscore prefix. See? Indicating these are associated with properties. Associated with the properties. Again, I'm telling you, you're least bothered about the logic inside of it here. Just I'm giving an idea, right? These things happen. So remember, when you're writing the code, you can remember you have fields in the class, you have properties in the class, you can work with them now. Okay. So these are the 6 properties, what it has defined and given to you. And see, last day, this class is explicitly defined by you in the ADO.NET. Are you clear? Tomorrow you have 10 tables, drag and drop the 10 tables, 10 classes are automatically defined for you. You don't require to write any logic manually. Got it? Okay. What I'm telling you, for every table you drag and drop, a series of actions are performed. A series of actions are performed. What is it? First step. First, it will define you a class representing the table. What do we call it? Model or entity. In object-oriented terminology, what we call entity or model. We call it as a model. Okay. So class is ready. Second, under the class, representing every column, it will define one property. Every column is a property now. Second step. Third step. Now tell me, when you query on this, you want to fetch the data now? Yes or not? And you want to get the data in MVC application, you want to get the data as a data header, data set, or list. How you want? But ADO.NET doesn't give you a list. So what did you do? We written the logic explicitly for picking one by one record and converting into list. Are you clear? Means what you need is a collection. Tell me clearly. What you need is a collection of objects. Means more clearly, a collection of student. A list of student here I am telling. Generically, I am telling collection of student is what you want. Am I correct? Watch it. Under the data context class, earlier what you saw is 4 constructors. Now you will see one additional property. Along with the 4 constructors, see? Again, some methods it was written, all are private and none of your business. Ignore private, don't bother about them. Now see, the same 4 constructors and you have property now. What is the name? Array, this is same like yesterday. List of students is equals to new list of student. What is the name I given? Students. Same only. But what is it now? What is table? Table is also one collection class now. Table is also one collection class. It is as same as a list. So should I require to learn how to work with this table? No need. Do you know how to work with a list? Answer me. Then this class directly has a method called toList. Call it, it will convert into list of student. That's all. Got it or not? So what is the return type? Table of. See, for example, I'm writing one method, a property like this, public. list of students. Get set. What is the type of this property? List. Nothing but in the place of list now, it has taken table. If you feel like you don't know how to work with a table, there is a direct method in this class called toList. Call it, it will convert off into list. And once it converts into list, you know how to work with a list. Did you understand the three? First step, model class. Second step, properties in the model class. Sorry. First step, model class representing the table. Second step, properties in the model class representing the columns. Third step, a property to fetch the data. A property to fetch the data. This is present in context class, not in the model class. Where is it? Context class. In the context class, you have it. Now you understood one thing. If you want to fetch the data now, guys, careful. If you want to fetch the data now, how simple, you know? Step 1, read the connection string from the config file. You know how to read the connection string now? String is equals to, sorry, configuration manager dot connection strings of dot connection string. And here what you require to write is the name of the connection string. What is the name of the connection string? MVC DB connection string. This will read the connection string and give you, correct? In the previous examples, means in ADO.NET, you created a connection class instance, not connection here. New, create the instance of this class and pass constr. Pass the constr. And now simply say DC dot, call the property. What is the property? Dot to list. Directly what you will get here now? List of students is equals to. That's it. Over here, you got your data now? Sir, don't I require to write any logic to convert into lists and all? No need. No need. Directly it will get a list. Did you understand me? Yes or not? So this is how you are going to work right now. This is how you work right now. Did you understand the 3 steps? These 3 steps will repeat for every table. You drag and drop 10 tables, 10 model classes. Under every model class, you'll find the properties related to this. Now under the context class, you will find one property to fetch that, it. What is it called? Table, na? Table, na? You can do CRUD on it, guys. Designed as a table now. You can do a CRUD, insert, update, delete. For you, just understand a small confusion here, not a confusion. You need to be understanding the terminology correctly. What is the name of your table? Student. But when you come to C# here, student is not a table. Student is a entity here. Student is a entity, model. It is a model. Then what is the table? Table is students. Are you clear? What is the table? Students. Students is the table. When you're doing a CRUD, we don't do on the student, we do on the students. So don't forget. If your actual table is student, in your application it will be students. Employee, employees. If it is a customer, customers. You need to do all your CRUD operations on this table, guys. Understood? For you, student is model, not table. Correct? Clear? For you, what is the table? Students is the table. That is why don't use pluralization on the table names anytime. Don't use pluralization on the table. It's a rule in DBMS here. Table names should never be pluralized. The reason, you know, if table names are pluralized, tomorrow problems will say, tomorrow namings will be problematic in ORM. If table name is customers, here it will be customers, yes again. Did you catch my point or not? If at all you have something called as a department, then these departments. But here only departments means It looks awkward, see now. Understood? That is why don't use pluralization on the tables. This will be a problem in ORM, not only about C# PR. Tomorrow you work in Java also same. You work in any technology, this is going to be same. Okay now? So we never work with the tables on the left-hand side. We work with the tables on the right-hand side. This is the table. When I want to select, I will do on this table only. Sorry, I will do on this table only. If I want to insert, I'll insert into this table only. I want to update, I'll update on this table only. I want to delete, I'll delete on this table only. I will do all the CRUD operations on this particular table. Is it clear, everyone? Guys. Yeah. Read this paragraph. Link to SQL and Visual Studio. Link to SQL in particular is a means to have a strongly typed interface against SQL Server database. You'll find this approach to Link to SQL provides is by far the easiest approach for querying SQL Server available right now. See, actually, what it is telling, as of today in the market, the easiest way to interact with the data source is by using Link to SQL Server. Is by using Link to SQL. Okay. It is important to remember that Link to SQL is not only about querying data, but can also perform insert, update, and delete operations that you need to perform, which are known as CRUD operations. CRUD na create, read, update, and delete. Visual Studio comes into strong play with Link to SQL in that you'll find an extensive user interface that allows you to design the Link to SQL classes you want to. It gives a UI to design it. Array, we got na split container. That is only the UI now. Drag and drop. When you drag and drop, the classes are defined to you automatically. Adding a link to SQL class. To work with link, first you need to convert of database into of your language. And this process of conversion is known as ORM. And to perform this, we are provided with a tool under Visual Studio. What is the tool? OR Designer, Object Relational Designer, which it does an outstanding job of making it as easy as possible. Not as easy, better we say as simple as possible. Are you clear? Next. Let's create a new ASP.NET web application project, naming it as choose. Click on the create button to create the project. In the project created, open Solution Explorer. Under the models folder, add and to do this, open add new item window. In the left-hand side of the window, select data. Guys, in the left-hand side, what you'll do? Data. And in the right-hand side, we'll find an option. Link to. Name the item as MVCDB.dbml. DBML stands for. We can give any name to the .dbml file, but it's always suggested to use our database name as name to this. Because our database name is MVCDB, we have named it as MVCDB.dbml. Now click add button, which will do the following. Read it. These are the things. What is it doing? Shown you now? Yes or not? Second. Two sub items are there. First one, that's none of our business here. The first one is irrelevant, not required for us. Second one, under this file only, OR Designer writes all the ORM code by converting relational objects into, one thing, everything will be in that file only. Tomorrow you have 100 classes, all 100 classes will be defined in that file only. So it looks lengthy now. Yeah, guys, there is a drawback. That is a drawback. All these type of problems are resolved in link to entities. That's an advanced version. That is a advanced version. Okay, you have some problems here. See, tomorrow one class. See, right now 2 classes are there. What are the 2 classes? Data context, student. Tomorrow I'll drag and drop a teacher class. Again, teacher table. That class also will be defined in the same file. Book table. That also in the same file. 50 tables like this. All these 50 will be in one file only now. Are you getting me? Plus, context class. All will be in the one single file. Next. Which will appear in the document window and is made of two parts. The first part on the left hand side is for which maps to tables, views, etc. Dragging such items on the surface will give us a visual representation of these objects. Guys, watch, you'll see a visual representation of the object now. This is the left hand side, first part here. Second on the right. Procedures should be dragged and dropped on the right hand side panel. Procedures on the right hand side panel will create your methods. Will create your methods. We'll see that, guys. In the next example, we will talk on procedures. Clear? Any doubts? You did not write even a single line of code anywhere till now. Do you remember? All these are automated. Next. We find a class. What is the class? Inheriting from of system.data.link namespace. Data context class works with the and connects to the database for any required operations when we create the instance of the class. Data context class also contains methods in it. It contains some set of methods here. What is it? Create database, delete database, get a table, execute query, submit changes, using which we can perform actions directly on the database. And the MVC DB data context class, which is defined here by default, contains 4 parameterized constructors in it. I shown you. Sir, where these methods are? Array, these methods are in your parent class. What is the parent class? Data context class. So they are automatically inherited to our MVC DB data context now. See, controller class has so many members in it now. Array, we are all consuming them in your controllers now. Now also same. These methods are not present in. We'll use these methods to talk with the database here. See, look at this method. I can call this method and get the tables data now. Get the tables data. Submit changes. What is submit changes? You know, submit changes is like a commit. You know, commit now. When you call this method, changes will be saved in the database. You can understand this method. You can call this method to create a new database now. You can call this method to delete a database now. Are you clear? All these are present in which class? Data context class. We'll use them here. We'll use these particular methods in your code. Is this paragraph clear? Next. I want to change a small thing. Creating a student model. Creating a student model. In the brackets, I will write entity. Models are nothing but entities now. Want to work with student. Okay. Student table actually. Student table. But for you, it is a model or entity. From the, which means that you're going to create a student class. Student class that will use link to SQL map to student table. Understand, you are creating a student class mapping to student table. Mapping to student table. But in our terminology, let us call it as a model or entity. Class represents our model now. That will use link to SQL map to student table. To accomplish this task, simply open the within Visual Studio from view menu and configure it with our database MVC DB. How to configure? Right click on data connections, add connection, and in that select, click on OK button, which opens another window. In the new window, under server name, enter your server name. Under log on to server option, choose authentication mode and provide the credentials. Under encrypt drop down, choose optional. And under connected to the database option, choose your database. From select or enter a database name drop down, choose your database name. And click on the which adds the database under data connections node. It'll add you the database. I shown you the 2 times I shown you. Cancelled it again. I ran and shown you this process. Okay, now next. What will this do? This will add the database under data connections node now. Now what now? Now drag and drop the student table of our MVC DB database onto the design surface of the war designer in the left-hand side. And this action will add a bunch of code in MVC designer.cs file on our behalf with a set of classes in it. And those classes will give you a strongly typed access to the student table. The student table. Okay. Now see, read this. When we drag and drop the first object table, not actions here, one only, na? Action. What is it? Writes connection string into web.config file, targeting to the database we have configured in. I shown you clearly. It writes the connection string in the config file. Correct? Second. Array, for every table, 3 actions are performed na? Read. Name of the class will be same as the table name. Right now we have dropped student table on the war designer. So student class gets defined. Student class gets defined. This is your model. Don't forget. Are you clear? Representing the entity. Entity is a table. We have dragged and dropped. So it is going to create a student table that is mapping to the, that is going to define a student class, and is nothing but your model class now. This is the model class for your application now. Second, defines properties under the entity class. Entity class. What is the entity class? Student here. Where each property represents each attribute of the entity. Each attribute of the entity. Nothing but entity is stable, na? Entity, we are, no, don't be confused. In relational terminology, it is stable. In object-oriented terminology, it is class. Are you clear? In relational terminology, entity means table. In object-oriented terminology, entity means class. So here you see that is table. Why? We are talking on relational, but if we talk in object-oriented terminology, it is a class. And here it is a table. Next. In the class, we'll find all these properties now. Third step. Here I shown you a property na, table of entity. Table of entity. Entity is student. And say, and this type of the property will be table of entity. Because we are working with the student entity, here the name of the property will be students, and the type of the property will be table of student. Okay, guys, again I'm clarifying this particular thing. Entity. What is an entity? Recollect yourself. Any living or non-living object associated with a set of attributes is called as entity. Basically, when you learnt about DVMS, this is what you will be learning. Any living or non-living object associated with a set of attributes is called as entity. It can be a living object, non-living object. Okay. Now, in relational programming, entities are called tables. In object-oriented programming, entities are called classes. Are you clear? And an important note here. What is it? In MVC, an entity or model, or I may use my term as entity, I may to use my term as model. Yeah, both are same. Don't be confused again now. Did you get me? If I'm saying entity in a database, means I'm talking about table. If I use the term entity in my application, I'm talking about a class. Sometimes without using the word entity, if I use model, don't be confused. Entity and model are same. Pure object-oriented programming calls entity, but MVC calls them as model. MVC calls them as model, but a model or entity are same. Don't be confused with this. Clearer or not? So once again, defines a property under referring to the table we want to work with, and the type of the property will be table of entity. Because we are working with a student entity, here the name of the property will be students and the type of the property will be table of student. Table of student. But what is the name? Students. And I already clarified you this one, guys, to you. What is it? I already given a clarification here. What is the clarification? The clarification what I given is, if at all your actual table name is a student and your application is students. Student is not table for you. Student is entity for you here. Understood? What is the table? Students is the table. The table is students. Okay. So that is what exactly happens to you behind the screen. Next, have a look on the note here. Is a generic class under system.data.link namespace, which also contains a set of methods like what? Delete on submit. You can call this method to delete a record on the table now. You can understand what? You can call this method to perform an insert on the table now. And look at these 4 methods here. Singular default, first or default, single first. What are these? All methods are used for performing query operations like querying. We can use method querying. For delete on submit, deleting. Insert on submit, inserting. The other 4 methods here, select or default, first or default, single, first, all these methods are used for performing the query operations. All these are defined in which class? Table class. We can do CRUD operations by calling them now. We can do CRUD operations by calling them. Did you understand me? So what you guys will do now is just try to completed ADO.NET. Create this project. Don't write any code. Create the project. Drag and drop the table. Are you able to do it or not successfully? Check it out. And verify each and every step. What is specified in the class is happening there or not. Understood or not? Don't blindly drag and drop the code. First, add the what designer. Now check what is happening. Read the notes. I said you, all the steps are actually as it is repeating here or not. Configure the what designer. Drag and drop the first object. Open the config and see connection string is there or not. For this table, the 3 steps, what I said, your classes, properties, and this table of entity, that property, all these are defined or not verified. Okay, don't do anything more. Just only clearly notice or observe all these particular things. And remember, till now you did not write even a single line of code anywhere. Everything is automated. Everything is automated. Understood me or not? So tomorrow I will teach you how to do CRUD operations. We will design an application just like same like our previous example. What is it? Display students, display student, add student, edit student, delete. Whatever I shown you yesterday with ADO.NET, the same, but we will write the code in a LINQ way now. Not by using ADO.NET, we'll write by using LINQ. Okay, so be prepared with all the things. Understand again tomorrow If I tell model class there, if you put blank face, I cannot explain you anything now. Understood? Are you clear? If you want this to be, you want to listen it another time. In our videos, in our C# videos here, you have the same video available there. But the videos I explained with a desktop application. Today I'm talking web, but there I explained with desktop. If you want drag and drop process and all, if you want to see again, you have the videos in that. The last videos in our C# collection, 60 videos are there now. The last 5-6 videos are about LINQ only. Okay, but those videos are created using desktop apps, GUI, Windows. But here I'm showing you web apps. Means to get a clarity about dragging and dropping, if you want, you can watch those videos. Okay, now let's stop it here, guys. We'll meet tomorrow.